On the evening of December 30th, 2014, a young mother shared one final photograph to social media, smiling beside her husband at a restaurant, celebrating early before New Year's Eve. Within hours, 26-year-old Erica Crippen would vanish without a trace, leaving behind two small daughters and a digital footprint that would ultimately lead investigators on a harrowing search across state lines. What seemed like a missing person case would transform into something far darker, revealing a tragedy that had been hidden in plain sight.
Wherever she at, come home. Let us know something. Anybody that knows something, let us know. I mean, we're very sick here.
A South Jersey murder suspect has been charged with helping her son conceal his wife's body. 67-year-old Joe Crosby was arrested at her Sicklerville home this morning.
Erica Crippen was the kind of person who lit up every room she entered. Raised by two devoted aunts after losing her mother at 13, she understood the weight of family and the importance of being present for those you love. At 26, she was juggling motherhood, a full-time course load studying medicine at Burlington County College, and work at a hospice facility where she cared for the dying with compassion and grace. Her 7-year-old daughter, Amira, from an earlier relationship, was her world, and her 3-month-old baby, Kaylee, whom she called her miracle princess, completed a picture that should have been full of promise and joy. Erica had reconnected with Kyle Crosby years after they'd known each other in high school. He reached out on social media in 2012, and they fell quickly into a relationship that seemed built on shared ambition. He'd founded a fitness company and appeared driven, hard-working, someone who matched her relentless energy. They married in the summer of 2014, shortly after he was released from jail on drug-related charges, a detail Erica's family wouldn't learn until much later. She became pregnant with twins, though tragically, only one survived. Baby Kaylee's arrival should have been a new beginning. Instead, it marked the start of an unraveling. Behind closed doors, the relationship was deteriorating. Kyle's drug use escalated. He disappeared for days at a time. Police were called to their Mount Laurel apartment multiple times for domestic disturbances, though charges were never filed. Erica exhausted her savings paying for his rehab, hoping to salvage the family she'd worked so hard to build. But no matter how much she tried, the cycle continued. She was mentally and physically drained, holding everything together, while the man she'd married slipped further away. Erica Crippen's life had never been easy, but she'd learned early how to turn pain into perseverance. Losing her mother at 13 could have broken her. Instead, it forged her into someone fiercely protective of the people she loved. Her aunts, Sonia and Dana, stepped in to raise her, and the bond between them became unshakable. Family wasn't just important to Erica, it was everything. It was the lens through which she saw the world, the reason she worked so tirelessly, and the foundation on which she built her identity as a mother. Friends remembered Erica as someone who could make anyone laugh, often at her own expense. She exaggerated her stories, played up her quirks, and never took herself too seriously. But beneath the humor was someone deeply serious about her goals. She was disciplined, focused, and determined to become a doctor. Balancing schoolwork with raising two daughters and working in hospice care meant her days started early and ended late. There was no downtime, no room for error. She thrived on the challenge, even when it left her exhausted. Kyle's drug use, which Erica may have initially downplayed, became impossible to ignore. He was using painkillers heavily, disappearing without explanation, and growing increasingly unstable. Neighbors heard arguments. Family members sensed tension. But Erica kept trying. She poured money into rehab. She made excuses. She held on to the belief that the man she married was still in there somewhere, waiting to come back to her. By the time Kaylee was born, the situation had become untenable. Kyle wasn't present. He wasn't reliable. And yet Erica stayed, perhaps out of hope, perhaps out of exhaustion, perhaps because leaving felt like admitting failure. She was a woman who never gave up on anything, and that strength, in this case, may have been her undoing. Her online presence told a different story. Scrolling through her social media, you'd see a happy mother, a dedicated student, a woman in control of her life. She posted constantly photos of her daughters, updates about school assignments, check-ins at the gym. It was a performance, perhaps, but it was also genuine. Those moments of joy were real, even if they existed alongside something much darker. Her last post, uploaded just before 11 o'clock on the night of December 30th, showed her smiling beside Kyle at a restaurant. It would be the last image the world would see of Erica Crippen alive. December 30th, 2014, was supposed to be a celebration. Erica had a long-standing tradition of spending New Year's Eve quietly at home with her daughters, so she and Kyle decided to go out the night before. They went to PJ Wellihans, a casual restaurant and bar in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. They ate. They drank. Erica, ever the documentarian, posted a photo of the two of them to Facebook around 11 that evening, setting it as her profile picture. They looked happy. They looked like any other couple ringing in the new year, a day early. What happened after they returned home that night remains partially unclear, but the timeline constructed by investigators paints a chilling picture.
A young mother of two from South Jersey has been missing since December 30th. She was last seen with her husband at a restaurant and bar in Cherry Hill. Action News reporter David Henry has the latest.
Yeah, her 26-year-old Erica Crippen Crosby lived here with her husband Kyle Crosby and her two daughters. She has not been seen since just before New Year's Eve.
We're just trying to get Erica back home, back to what we know. Like, this is too much. Too much.
Erica was last seen with Kyle Crosby at this pub in Cherry Hill the night of December 30th. She posted a profile update on her Facebook page later that night, and that's her last post. Previously, she posted just about every day, several times a day. That's when the family reported her missing. They say she would never leave her kids behind if she up and left.
She would never do that to her own children. She would never.
We're worried. Wherever she at, come home. Let us know something. Anybody that knows something, let us know. I mean, we're very sick.
Tonight, loved ones gathered outside of Erica's apartment in Mount Laurel to pass out flyers and to pray for her safe return.
We need Erica to come home safe to us right now, Father God.
It's not like Erica to just walk out the house and leave her kids. She loved her kids.
Erica's family believes something is terrible.
In the early morning hours of December 31st, around 3:20 a.m., Kyle was texting his mother, Jo. The messages, later recovered during a forensic examination of their phones, were disturbing. Jo sent a text that read, "Please do not touch her in any way or form." 13 minutes later, Kyle responded, "I'm not that stupid." The exchange suggests an argument was happening in real time, and that Jo was aware something was spiraling out of control. By 7 that morning, Jo's phone pinged off a cell tower near the couple's apartment. She would later claim to investigators that everything looked fine when she arrived, and that she stayed with the children while Kyle ran errands. But her initial statements were inconsistent. She told police she had no recollection of hearing from her son that night, even going so far as to show officers her phone conveniently scrubbed of at least 15 text messages she'd exchanged with Kyle during those critical hours. Kyle Crosby later admitted in court that he choked his wife to death inside their Mount Laurel home on New Year's Eve. The details of how the argument escalated, what words were exchanged, and how long it took Erica to die were never fully disclosed. What is known is that sometime during those hours, Erica Crippen's life ended in the home she shared with the man she'd tried so desperately to help. Over the next several days, Kyle began the process of covering up what he'd done. He wrapped Erica's body in a fleece blanket. He bound her hands, feet, and neck with yellow electrical wire. He placed duct tape over her mouth and nose, and then, using her own red Ford Taurus, he drove her body out of state, searching for a place remote enough to hide what he'd done. Meanwhile, Erica's family began receiving text messages from her phone. The messages were strange, formal, impersonal, nothing like the way Erica normally communicated. Her aunts felt an immediate unease. This didn't sound like her. This didn't feel right. But they had no proof, only instinct. Days passed. Erica's social media, once a constant stream of updates, went silent. For a woman who posted multiple times a day without fail, the absence was deafening. On January 2nd, Carl posted a message on Facebook, asking if anyone could babysit the girls. It was a bizarre request under the circumstances, and it sent alarm bells ringing through Erica's family. Where was she? Why wasn't she answering her phone? Why was Kyle suddenly asking strangers to watch the children? By January 7th, the situation reached a breaking point. Amira, Erica's 7-year-old daughter, didn't show up at school. The school contacted the family, and someone requested a welfare check at the apartment. When officers arrived, what they found was horrifying. The home was in complete disarray. Furniture was overturned. Broken glass had been swept into a corner. Food and trash littered the floor. The shower curtain was missing. The bed had been stripped of its sheets. And in the bathroom, they found baby Kaylee, fully clothed in a soiled diaper, sitting unattended in a bathtub with several inches of water. Kyle was there, sitting in a chair, visibly high on something. He wasn't coherent. He wasn't capable of caring for the children, and Erica was nowhere to be found. Her purse, her keys, and all of her coats were still in the apartment. In the dead of winter, with freezing temperatures outside, she would never have left without them. She would never have left her children in a place like this. The conclusion was inescapable. Something terrible had happened to Erica Crippen. The moment officers stepped into that chaotic apartment and saw the condition of the children, the case shifted from missing person to something far more urgent. Kyle was immediately brought in for questioning, though his behavior only deepened suspicions. He was incoherent, claiming he'd taken painkillers. His story kept changing. At first, he said he hadn't seen Erica since New Year's Day. Later, he adjusted the timeline. He filed a missing person report on January 7th, the same day police showed up, but by then, his wife had been gone for over a week. Erica's family wasted no time launching their own search. They organised search parties, printed flyers, and combed through neighbourhoods in the harshest winter conditions. Her best friend quit her job to dedicate herself full-time to finding Erica. They checked dumpsters, scoured parking lots, and followed every lead, no matter how small. One of her aunts used a phone tracking app to locate Erica's last known location, which led them to a restaurant. They begged the manager to review security footage. The cameras showed Kyle, Kaylee, and Amira visiting the restaurant days earlier, but no sign of Erica. They handed the footage over to detectives, who were already building a case against Kyle. Prosecutors described Kyle as a flight risk and a drug addict with a long criminal history that included narcotics and burglary convictions. He'd stopped showing up for work, he'd disconnected his phone, and according to reports from people who encountered him during those days, he'd been spotted in Camden with a sex worker, bringing her back to the apartment and offering her free reign of Erica's belongings. It was as though he'd already moved on, as though his wife's disappearance meant nothing. On January 10th, police issued a warrant for Kyle's arrest on child endangerment charges. It wasn't murder, they didn't yet have enough evidence for that, but it gave them the legal grounds to bring him in.
Law enforcement sources say they are also actively looking for Crosby. He may be in Erica's car, a cranberry red Ford Taurus with primer paint on the front passenger door and fender. Her family says the car had been parked outside her home Wednesday night when the police showed up to investigate.
The car was right out front. I told the officer, I said, I have a bad feeling. Every time I go by this car, I have a bad feeling that she is in that trunk. Can y'all check it? Oh, we waiting on a search warrant.
The car is now gone. Erica's family is convinced she was killed. When they went into the house Wednesday night, they found her coat, her pocketbook, and car keys.
Did see rubber gloves inside the sink. The shower curtain is tore down. There's no sheets on the bed. The house is tore up. The girl don't live like that.
The breakthrough came when Kyle's father called investigators. He'd received a call from his son using a random number. The call was traced to a convenience store in Maryland, and from there, police were able to track the license plate on Erica's red Ford Taurus as it crossed the Francis Scott Key Bridge. A be on the lookout alert was issued. An off-duty officer spotted the car and attempted a traffic stop. Kyle jumped out and ran, but he didn't get far. When he was apprehended and the car was searched, investigators found several items that immediately raised red flags. Duct tape, a shovel, a bag of cement, and multiple air fresheners. It was clear Kyle had been trying to cover something up. The real key to finding Erica came from an older Garmin GPS device found in the glove box. The GPS had recorded more than 8,600 coordinates, a digital breadcrumb trail documenting every place the car had stopped over the previous weeks. Investigators meticulously analysed the data, cross-referencing it with Google Maps and Street View images. They focused on stops that lasted 10 minutes or longer, reasoning that disposing of a body would take time. One location stood out. Along Old Frederick Road in Carroll County, Maryland, near the rural town of Sykesville, the GPS showed Kyle had stopped twice, once for 5 minutes and again for 14. The area was isolated, surrounded by farmland and forest. On March 17, 2015, more than 2 months after Erica vanished, investigators found her. Her remains were discovered beneath a pile of branches and limbs, wrapped in a fleece blanket. Her hands, feet, and neck were bound with yellow electrical wire, and duct tape covered her mouth and nose. Despite the passage of time, the freezing winter temperatures had preserved her body and any evidence around it. An autopsy determined the cause of death to be asphyxiation. Erica had been murdered, hidden, and left alone in the cold. Meanwhile, the investigation into Joe Crosby intensified. Authorities recovered at least 15 deleted text messages between her and Kyle from the night Erica disappeared. When first questioned, Joe claimed she had no memory of hearing from her son that night. She even showed police her phone, knowing full well the messages had been erased. She later admitted she deleted the messages when she learned authorities were coming to interview her. Investigators believe she knew what her son had done and had actively worked to help him cover it up. She was arrested and charged with hindering apprehension and tampering with physical evidence, though she posted bail and was released shortly after. Kyle Crosby was charged with murder. His bail was set at $1.2 million. The evidence against him was overwhelming: the GPS data, the condition of the apartment, the items found in Erica's car, and the damning text messages with his mother. He had nowhere left to run. On December 23, 2015, nearly a year after Erica's death, Kyle Crosby stood before a judge and pleaded guilty. He admitted to aggravated manslaughter and hindering apprehension, acknowledging that he choked Erica inside their Mount Laurel home and later transported her body to Maryland. As part of the plea deal, the charges against his mother were dropped, as were the child endangerment charges stemming from the condition in which the children were found. On March 10, 2016, Kyle Crosby was sentenced to 31 years in prison, 28 years for manslaughter, and 3 years for hindering apprehension, to be served consecutively. He would have to serve 85% of the manslaughter sentence before becoming eligible for parole, meaning he'd spend at least 23 years behind bars. During the sentencing hearing, Kyle wept. "I miss Erica, my wife, terribly," he told the court, adding, "Hopefully one day you will find it in your hearts to forgive me." He claimed he never intended to kill her, that he acted out of fear in the aftermath, but his tears rang hollow to many in the courtroom. Erica's family spoke at the sentencing, their words a mixture of grief, anger, and determination to honor her memory. Jasmine Garrett, a close friend, told Kyle directly, "The choices that you made caused Erica's death, and you have taken someone so precious from us. But I will continue to raise Kaylee with the same love and passion that Erica would have raised her with." Another family member expressed forgiveness, not for Kyle's sake, but for their own peace. They refused to let hatred consume them the way Kyle's actions had consumed Erica's life. In the end, Erica's daughters were placed with family who loved them fiercely. Amira went to live with her biological father and Erica's aunt Sonia. Baby Kaylee was adopted by Sonia and her husband. Erica's aunt Sonia urged others to take something meaningful from the tragedy. She spoke about recognizing warning signs in relationships, about not being afraid to leave when something feels wrong, and about the importance of being honest with loved ones so they can help before it's too late.